What up, what up, what up, what up? It's me, Teddy27.
Good as night, right about the hood.
Oh, dear God, I'm already eating a drink. Look a damn mess, just a damn mess. No means no, and yes means no. What up, 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 what up? What's good, people? What is up, what is up? It is me, Teddy27, and I am back for another review. This is our review, ladies and gentlemen. That look, I don't know where it came from. This is my review, ladies and gentlemen, for Queen Sugar. This is season 5. It is episode 3. It is entitled Late April 2020. Okay. So a lot happened this episode. It just really, I loved the orchestration of this episode, the writing and the acting. It really, like it took you almost mind, body, and soul back to where we were at that time. Like, they did a great job of encapsulating really what we all were experiencing and going through, and it was really like reliving everything that we experienced last year at this time, during late April of last year. So we start off with Ralph Angel. He's at home and he's listening to the radio. There's a news broadcast, and the news reporter is going on and on and on about the pandemic and its effect that it's having on the farmers, and the fact that a lot of farmers aren't able to, because the mills are closed, they're losing money, and they're having to throw away harvests and crops, and they're losing lots and lots of money on the farms because the mills had to close. And just everything that they're having to go through. You also hear him calling workers and telling them, listen, I can't have you come in, or just telling them there's no work because he's not able to harvest yet, because there's nowhere to take the crops if he harvests them. So one of his workers tells him that he tested positive for COVID, and he was like, wow, damn. So we see all of that going on. Then we fast forward to Nova and White Boy Cop at home. They start working, making out. I can't. Y'all know I do not like White Boy Cop. Y'all know I don't even say his name. It tested my gag reflex. I never saw it for White Boy Cop. I still don't see it for White Boy Cop. I just don't have it to do with him. I'm sorry, y'all. No, can't do it. Won't do it. Anyway, Vi and Hollywood are at the diner, and they're preparing packages. They're packing meals in order to deliver to members of the citizens of St. Joe's and people who frequent the diner, just to help some people out and things like that, and also to help her out so she doesn't have to throw a lot of this food away, since the diner hasn't been open for, I think they said at that point it had been 6 weeks. And remember, she put that sign up at the end of last episode saying we'll be back on April 1st, and baby, it's the end of April, and they haven't been back open. Hollywood talks about never getting the chance to open his spot because of the pandemic, and then Hollywood's mom calls, and he talked about sending her a package, and she was like, I ain't went and got that thing. It's still on the porch. It'll stay out there for 14 days till I know it's good and clean. I found that real funny. Anyway, Charlie, we see her. She's on a Zoom conference call with the city council, and they're discussing, everything going on in St. Joe with the pandemic, mainly and specifically with regard to the hospital, which is filled up, and they're trying to figure out what to do about the fact that the hospital is pretty much beyond capacity and whatnot. The state has mandated, your businesses being closed or whatnot, and so she was asking for updates on that. And so Councilman Jackson is like, well, some business have closed, and some business are trying to close. And Charlie was like, well, why did not close? They've been mandated to close by the state. And he was like, well, wait a minute, you talk about us. What about your aunt, who looked like I saw a lot of activity at her diner? What's she doing over there? Is she closed? Councilman Jackson is still going to be a thorn in that woman's Charlie's side. He do not care about her. He don't care about her at all, honey. So they look back and forth. Then we see Nova and some volunteers. They get these care packages, and it from True's paper. Remember, that was the name of her online website or whatnot. And they're delivering care packages to members of the community and so forth. So we see them going to go do that. So that was a good thing. We then see Ralph Angel and Darla. And you notice how I fast forwarded past Nova because she was with White Boy Cop. And I don't know what it is about him or even that whole storyline that gives me pause, that invokes the gag reflex, that makes me really just want to just But something about White Boy Cop and that whole Nova White Boy Cop storyline just does not make me itch. Just does not sit well with me. Nova did. I'm sorry. We did see Ralph Angel and Darla at home. She managed to go to the grocery store, and we got the whole thing about scavenging for toiletries and food and stuff when the grocery stores are bare, and we all remember that last April. Like that April and May of last year, it was a real thing. Going to the grocery store, seeing nothing on the toilet paper and paper towel aisle, nothing. I mean, I remember going and seeing stuff like all of the pastas and rice is going. I'm like, who cooking this much spaghetti and stuff? I just remember, child, you couldn't find nothing. Um, they talk about the fact that even before COVID, St. Joe had bad internet connectivity because it's a rural area, and so now that Blue has to do all of his schooling online, the connectivity issues are a problem. And so Ralph Angel was like, you would think that if the school wants kids, are forcing kids to, do class online, that they will be sure that every child does have adequate internet access. And that's just not the case. And I know that, and I know a lot of you all that have children in school, and it doesn't even have to be a rural area. You could be in a highly densely populated area, and you know how the internet is sometimes. You got outages, you got it's slowed up, you got websites that won't load, your passwords don't, all kinds of issues with technology. And I know that that was an issue, especially when you start to talk about school and children having to be online all of the time for that purpose. So I know that was an issue. Um, they talk, Ralph Angel and Darla, about some of the anxiety that everybody is feeling, and Ralph Angel says, "Listen, I am more calm than I probably should be, but there's a calm about me, and I'm just not worried." He talked about having to lay off and fire a lot of his workers because he's not going to harvest it. He's just going to let the let the crops and land do what it does, which will make the soil much rich for next year's harvest, and they can make up the money then. But they are starting to hurt for money. And Darla kind of mentioned, why don't you ask your sister for money? Ralph Angel, being a strong black man, is like, I know you fucking lying. I'm not asking her for anything. Nope. If I can't get it, we won't get it. If I can't get it, we won't get it. And so Darla talks about, I have my job, and we're supposed to have a meeting, and they're supposed to meet with us to let us know about when we can start going back full time, so that I can, bring in my check and that can help us out. He's like, yes. So then we see Charlie. She goes to meet with Aunt Vi, and now she's telling Aunt Vi about all of the stuff that Councilman Jackson said about, hey, what y'all got going on here. Make sure y'all following all of the procedures and protocols mandated by this state, because they're gonna be on me like stank on shit. And I really think that Charlie probably, I would venture to guess, is probably harder on Aunt Vi with regard to these things than other places, only because eyes are on her, and any and everybody connected to her will have eyes on them. So she has to make sure that Aunt Vi is following, the straight and narrow. She then talks about the fact that Micah's coming home, and that Micah, and so Aunt Vi was like, well, good luck with that, because I remember when Nova first came home from school, her and Ernest used to go at it like battle cats, honey. And so Charlie was like, no, we'll be fine. She was like, okay, don't forget, this is grown person. And grown people don't like being back under rules and restrictions and stuff like that. And I think anybody who's going off to school and have had to come back home to live in your parents' house and be subjected to all of these rules and stipulations and stuff after you was out on your own doing what you wanted to do, that never makes sense. Well, I know I had my experience with that. I think I talked about that on the live chat. Anyway, we see Nova bring a care package over to Mr. Prosper. Mr. Prosper is having cabin fever, anxiety, all kinds of shit going on with him mentally and emotionally. And he had the little mask on, and he's real curt. He's real curt with her. She was like, "Oh, can I help you?" Girl, no. You need me to put things up? Girl, put it in the kitchen. Can I? Hey, I told you I got it. Please leave. I don't have this type of time. And he did. I was like, oh, he was real short and curt with her. We did see Blue at home do her homework. Now, I loved that they showed this part because, this is something that I just really, I think, I don't know, not that I couldn't imagine this happening, but it's just something that I just didn't think about during this time period. But so you see, we got two problems. The problem is they have one computer with the working internet, but one computer, period. Blue has to get on the computer to do his schoolwork. Donna needs to get on this computer in order to do her regular work for her job to get online. And Ralph Angel was like, "Listen, Blue, we can worry about Blue's thing later, but we need you to log in your hours at work because we need this money." And so it immediately made me say, "Wow, I know that there were a whole lot of households that had to come over that had to overcome that legitimate problem because a lot of people were working from home and all of their children were also at home doing schoolwork. And the thing about it is, during that time, I remember it was very hard to come by a laptop or anything online because people were buying them up so quickly that they couldn't meet the demand. And also, when you talk about things being mailed out, there was hangups and slow ups with the all of the parcel services and the USPS and stuff like that. So I'm glad they brought that to the forefront because I just that part right there just didn't dawn on me. Those households with one computer and you have two different things that need to get done. Schoolwork needs to get done. Your job, if you're working from home at that point, needs to get done. So I'm glad that they highlighted that. We did see Hollywood making dinner for Aunt Vi. He's on the phone with his mom and they're FaceTiming and whatnot. And she's helping him, finish the meal or whatever. And so we see she's got a bad cough. And he, of course, thinks the worst. She said, "It ain't the Rona, don't worry about it." But he's concerned that he's worried. And all right, so now we back down to Charlie's house and Micah is home. Micah got all his mess and everything sprawled out everywhere on the phone with his boys and whatnot. The thing that, and when Charlie comes in, she has on her mask, and that's what caught me at first. I'm like, wait a minute, you home? Why is the mask still on? Apparently, they got to wait a few days for Micah to get his COVID test. So until he can get his COVID test, Charlie and Micah got to be in the house and be around each other with masks on. But if y'all are in the same space, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but because they're all in the same space together. It's not like Micah's quarantining in his room or something like that. And are they really wiping down everything like that all day, every day? Like I don't know how that works. Y'all people who have had to live with someone who had the COVID, um, had the Rona. Let me know how that works. Actually living in how because the way that Micah and Charlie were interacting did not seem to me like this was really what the quarantining should have been like. But I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Anyway, Charlie tries to reassure him that listen, I'm an adult, you're an adult, and it's okay. She said it's all good, but everything's okay. I'm gonna treat you like an adult and we're gonna make this work. So Micah was like, she was like, "What do you want for dinner?" And Micah was like, "Well, I wanted to go, maybe go get something to eat go by a friend's house or whatever." She was like, "Hey, boo, there's a whole stay at home order, and we talked about this before you came home. No frat brothers, no friends, no Kiki or whatever." He was like, "Well, you ain't got to worry about Kiki." She was like, "Why?" He was like, "Oh yeah, she broke up with me, and she got her whole ass boyfriend." I told y'all last week. I told y'all last week. Kiki had already, attached herself to that boy. I told y'all she knew way too much information on old boy for her not to have already been doing stuff with him. I told y'all that last week. I mean, it wasn't hard to figure out. But I've seen reviews where people were going in on Micah and saying everything was Micah, Micah, Micah. And I was like, Kiki got some shit going on with that boy. And shit like that happens because, like I told y'all last week, Micah was pledging, and Micah can't be around Kiki. You cannot foster a healthy relationship with somebody while you're pledging. Shit doesn't work like that. But anyway, she broke up with him for old boy that she had already. I mean, the relationship was already clearly over. They just needed to, make it official. He clearly seems to have moved on. Back at Ralph Angel's house, Darla is planting vegetables in a little vegetable garden or whatever, and she ends up telling Ralph Angel she got laid off, but not really laid off. Apparently, she it has been furloughed, which a lot of companies were doing at that time because what that means is they don't have to pay the employee, but they also don't have to pay unemployment because the employee is not technically fired or laid off. So now you don't have to pay them anything in terms of payroll. You also don't have to pay out anything in terms of unemployment. And it was a lot of bad stuff going on, and still is going on right now with businesses doing nefarious things to their employees, I should say. Just a mess. We then see Ralph Angel. Later on after that, we see him. He's trying to sell one of his tractors for like $8,500, and him and this white man, they go through this negotiation process, and they settle on 7,000, which is beneath what he wanted to sell. But the man was like, "This, that's all I got. Times are hard for all of us. All us trying to make a living. All us trying to make it happen." And so he takes the 7,000, but it's really less than what he wanted, and I'm sure the 8,500 he was selling it for is less than he probably should have. But he got to do what he has to do to try and get some money in the house. Back at Nova's house, she's meditating and praying and stuff. White boy cop comes in there, this, that, and the third to talk to her. I can't stand him, and so I don't even want to address him. Anyway, she tells him that she's praying for Mr. Prosper, and just that his for his spirit cleansing and some of the loneliness and despair that he's feeling, he'll be cleansed of and so forth. And White Boy Cop talks about how his children seem to be stir crazy, having cabin fever, and are having, a little bit of social anxiety because they're not able to be around their friends and do all of the things that they're normally able to do by going to school. I mean, I think at that point, by the time we got to late April, early May, everybody was kind of like feeling it like, listen, I don't care what I got to do to get out the house. Please let me out the house. Hell, ask Really B. She'll tell you. You know what my outing was? The grocery store. Can I tell you how the grocery store became the club during that time? The grocery store was the whole ass club at that time, child. You don't even understand. Anyway, Hollywood is, we see him next. He's feverishly trying to get in contact with his mom, who's not answering the phone. So he ends up calling one of the neighbors and telling the neighbor, listen, I need you to go over there and check on my mom because I can't get in contact with her. I'm getting scared. You need to tell me something. Please go check and call me back and let me know. All right. So then now we're getting close to the end of the episode. And I was like, oh God, what's about? Because I felt something about to happen. I didn't know whether it was going to be good or bad, but I felt like, okay, it's something that's about to happen. So we see Ralph Angel and Darla at home, and he tells her how he had to sell one of his tractors, and how he definitely won't be able to harvest this year. He'll just let the crops, earth to earth, ash. I'm not gonna say ash to ash, but let crops do what they do. They grow, they die, and they become fertilizer for the next set of crops. And he says, I'm just let it do what it does. Darla says she doesn't like the fact that he has to sell away parts of what he's built up just to take care of them, and then she's gonna find her a job. Now, immediately, now y'all can say I'm wrong, but my mind went to nefarious places and said that is she gonna go out here and try and start tricking again? Like, I know I'm not the only one who in my mind thought that she was, saying, listen, if I need to go out here and start tricking again, I will. I'm just saying, it crossed my mind. I know it crossed somebody else's mind. Anyway, when times are hard, you got to make ends meet, honey. Ralph Angel says he's going to go get a regular job to help make ends meet, and don't worry about it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put my pride aside. I'm gonna make it happen for my family. And you gotta love a man that said, "Listen, I got this. I'm gonna do what I got to do for my household." That's what men do. So then later we see it's later that afternoon, and Ralph Angel's out back, and he gets a call. Looks like for a job interview to come out and interview for a job. And so we then cut away back to Charlie's house. So Mike is in his room on the phone with some chick. And his mom comes in to ask him, if he needed anything before she goes. And so he had the girl on speakerphone. And so she hears his mom's voice, and she is all fanning out. She is like, is that your mother? Is that your mother? He's like, yes, that is her. She's like all fanning out about about Charlie because she, thinks Charlie's so great and everything. She was like, and so he put the girl on speakerphone. It was real cute, that little part right there. He lets the girl talk to his mom, and she's fanning out. And then the mom leaves. So you see this little exchange with Micah, trying to, put the moves on the girl, talking all sexy and stuff to the girl. It was both kind of weird, but at the same time, it was cute. It was cute and weird. However, in my mind, even though he's playing the part, this is Nicholas Ash playing as Micah talking to some. I just imagine, is this how Nicholas Ash, the actual guy, talked to what's the dude he's dating right now name? I can't think of the dude's name that he's dating. God, y'all gonna tell me in the comment section. But I just was thinking, I wonder if these the same. That's the same voice you put on, and the same little, little Mac game you put on when you got with old boy that you with now, because he's dating some dude. God, I can't think of the dude's name. Who was in one of the last Jurassic Park? I think it's Justice something. I can't remember dude's name. It's gonna come to me right after I get off this damn review. God damn it. Um. Anyway, but it was kind of weird and cute at the same time. Michael's a little cute. I ain't gonna lie, he's a little cute. I can say that because he's grown, but he's a little cute. I like rough Michael with all the facial hair and stuff. I like his hair. Y'all know he's been. Michael's hair is a whole thing every season. Michael does something different with his hair, and I like his hair this season. I love the hair on Michael this season. Um, I didn't really care for the Killmonger. I think I did like the Killmonger at first. But now that I think about it, maybe not so much. But I like this hair on him. And probably next season I'll be like, I didn't like this hair. And I'll like whatever he has next season. So I will say that Micah gets his hair right each time for that season. But then maybe I don't like it no more. So then we see Rod at the job interview. Now, let me say this first. When the lady called him to the back and he gets up and starts walking. Now, the whore in me, because I'm a complete whole ass whore, my eyes first gravitated toward that young man's crotch. And I saw the package that he was carrying out to this good interview in that crotch area. And I was like, ooh, Lord, oh, God, do Jesus and do him well. Oh, child, there was something being carried in that crotch area. Go back and watch because I rewound it like 28 times. Anyway, so the interviewer starts asking him these questions and stuff like that. But then she starts to be very real with him, talking about, listen, you a farmer, you used to making a certain amount of money. This ain't no, grandiose shindig over here. This ain't a whole lot of, listen, I ain't looking for nobody just trying to punch the clock, do this, that, and the third. Baby, apparently, that young man, um, Ralph Angel, was listening to Charlie when she was coaching Darla up. Because, listen, he gave out a phenomenal answer, but it wasn't just the answer. It was, first of all, he looked great. The little vest with the tie, with the shirt, with the mask. It was so much for me. Listen, it was the combination of his answer with his eyes. Just look at his eyes that whole time. It was just mesmerizing and captivating. The way that melanin was popping, the outfit, the confidence, his whole entire presence had me weak. Oh, When I tell you I got instantly moist, I rewound that part over and over and over. I know I rewound that part at least about 60 times just to watch him give that as it was. The eyes caught me for. I'm an eye guy. I love a good pair of eyes. The eyes and that melanin and the outfit and the confidence and just the aura. Ooh, did it for me, hey. I was like, sit the chill, child. Made me instantly moist. Child. I feel like Blanche Devereaux or that episode of The Golden Girls where she got all hot and sweaty. She had to squirt bottle, had to squirt herself with, to cool herself down. So I need a squirt bottle to cool myself down. Child, I got hot and bothered. Hey, he got the job because I'm guessing Asian interview chick got moist too. Honey. You couldn't help but get moist, honey. I ain't mad at her. I ain't mad at her. Maybe he could have asked me for anything at that point. I would have gave him whatever. You need a kidney? Here you go, honey. Let me cut it out myself. What you need? You need me to, just give me my whole check. Give you my whole paycheck. All right, girl. All right, honey. I just sign it over to you right now. Whatever you need. You could got anything. You need me to go ahead and be head my mama and hand her head to you on the silver platter? Okay, no problem. Mama, come on over here. Swoop. Head on the platter. Here you go. Whatever you need. He could have got it. I'm just saying. Chat. He got the job. Hollywood is at home, still worried about his mama still. So I brought him some, I think some tea or something like that. But she brought him something to drink, and she was like, "Listen, go on up to Baton Rouge and see about your mom, because he been trying to call Mr. Prosper as well, and Mr. Prosper ain't answering either. He's worried about Mr. Prosper as well, but he's definitely worried about his mom. So she was like, listen, go see about your mama. You worried now? He did say that he talked to the neighbor. The neighbor said that she went over there to check on his mom, and his mom was home, but his mom seemed a little lethargic, more lethargic than normal. And so he was like, still kind of worried. But I was like, listen, you need to put your mind at ease. Go up there and see about your mama. And he goes, he says, okay, I'm gonna do that first thing in the morning. I'll go see about Mr. Prosper first, and then I'll go to Baton Rouge and check on my mom. And I like that he did that. I'm just hoping. Oh God, I'm hoping ain't nothing happened to Hollywood's mom. Y'all know how we are about the characters on Queen Sugar. And we don't listen. I think this is the first time we ever seen Hollywood Mama. But y'all know how we feel about Hollywood. And we are not gonna be well if something happened to that young man's mama and you see Hollywood breaking down. We ain't here for that. Anyway, we see Mr. Prosper at home and he's going through, all of the just anxieties and despair and everything with the loneliness of the cabin fever. So he's just ignoring phone calls. Hollywood calling. He gets another phone call. So he thinks it's Hollywood. He was like, yes, Hollywood. And Nova was like, no, this is not Hollywood. This is Nova. And he was like, oh, Nova, I didn't know it was you. I thought it was Hollywood because he'd been calling me. So he apologized to her for how he had acted and how curt and short he was with her when she came over earlier. And so then after that, she starts to talk to him. She said, listen, I'm worried about you, how you feel. I'm worried about you, I'm really worried. And so they have that back and forth. And he was still being how he's been during this time. But then she switches it around and she says, I need your help. I'm writing an article about the homeless and I'd love to get your word on it. And he immediately, you see the brightness come back in his eyes, that glimmer. And what I thought about was Mr. Prosper, especially when you see people at that age, they don't want to feel like a burden on people. They don't want to feel like a charity case or anything. They want to feel needed. They want to feel like they have a purpose or something to give. And so by Nova offering him this opportunity to help her and give his opinion and lend his voice to this article, it made him, it gave him purpose. It gave him a feel that, okay, they need me for something. Here it is, something that I'm needed for. I don't just have to sit here alone. And even if I am here, I can work at something or, give of myself for something. And I think the more they do that with Mr. Prosper, the better he will be. So I like that happened. Then we see Ralph Angel at home with Darlin. She's at the sewing machine sewing something. I don't know if she's sewing stuff to make money and stuff like that. And he came out there in that damn work uniform. Listen, it was fitting all the right places, the right ways. Ooh, listen, I have a thing. Listen, y'all want to know what I go for? All of my men. I love a blue collar man. I don't need corporate America guy. I love me a good blue collar man who gonna go to work and come home, have on the work uniform, and just ooh. But I tell you, Ralph Angel was doing me and doing me well this episode, honey. Woo, child. Do Jesus and do him well, baby. He was wearing that uniform, honey. Baby, he walked out that house looking just as fine as wine. Ooh, child. He went to the little car. You saw him look. He was looking at the field, and he was like, you know what? It's okay. And, I could see he felt like a man that was taking care of his family and doing what he had to do. And he took pride in, no, I'm going to work to make money, to put food on the table and money on the, in my household for my family, doing what I got to do. And you just love seeing that, you love seeing a man that will go and put his pride aside and take care of his family. That, like, for me, I love seeing a man take care of his family. Oh, that's so sexy, so sexy. Whew. Anyway, it went off from there. Y'all listen. Oh, I got all worked up. My panties got in a bunch this episode. Baby Ralph Angel did it for me, had it. Ooh, oh, ooh, Lord. Oh, ooh. I can't wait till next week, honey. Ooh, Lord. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all. Let's get in the comment section and do what we do best. Good about what we saw. Y'all know all my acts on my channel is for y'all to give me some commentary in the comment section about what y'all think y'all saw and so forth and so on. And that's all I ask. In the meantime, in between time, that's all I got for y'all. Until then, thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.